Hello, and welcome to another episode of Break the Cycle with me, your host, Joshua Smith. Hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday night, and thank you for hanging out with us instead of watching football. I appreciate you guys so much. We've got a great show for you tonight. I'm very, very excited. Yeah, man, how was your weekend? Let me know in the chat. Let us know how it went. Hopefully it was great. Dallas Cowboys won, so I'm stoked. I'm having a good one. I'm sure everyone else is. And we did it with a backup quarterback. He's 2 for 2.
Yeah,
in his entire career.
Cooper Rush is better than Dak Prescott.
Dude, he needs that. He needs that Dak money, bro. He needs that Dak money. Before we get too far into this, let's start with some sponsors. Of course, we have TopLobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Disobey Your Local Tyrant shirt that you see me wearing tonight. Yes, that is Cuomo on there. I am not from New York, but my homie Top is a New York expat. But you can get this shirt and many others by using BTC at checkout at Top Lobster, or you can join the Patreon, subscribe star, become a member of the YouTube channel under all of my videos by hitting the join link, where you can get into a private Discord server that I probably should get my co-host into soon.
Yeah, you probably should.
Where you can get all of Top Lobster's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. So like if you're doing $5 a month, $10 a month, and you're buying Top Lobster gear, you're actually saving money and supporting us both. It's really, really great stuff. And of course, executive producers of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at much cheaper and much more efficiently. Seriously, if you own a business, hit them up right now. Maybe wait till the show's over. Or do it now. I don't care. They're great people. Amy Lepore is one of my favorite people. They're going to help you out, man. They're going to help you plan your business, and it's going to save you money, and it's going to help you immensely. I promise. And of course, new executive producers of the show, my friend Colwell Creative Content. Look at that nice new logo they got going on over there. They do underwriting and marketing, and they're going to help you get to your target audience. I am working on finally working on video ads for my sponsors, especially Colwell Creative Content. They're amazing, great people. I know them. I know husband and wife busting their ass to help all kinds of people find their target audience. They're doing great marketing. Please go check them out today. See what they can do for your business, your podcast, you're selling. I don't know. They can help you with anything. That's the cool thing about
hot dog stand. I don't
Dude,
know.
Anything that you're trying to do. If you're trying to get in front of a specific audience, and they have proven results, man. They've helped all kinds of people already. So it's not like just some brand new startup that doesn't know what they're doing. They have customers. They have clients that they're already helping get in front of their in front of their target audience. So go check out Colwell Creative Content today. Amazing things. The link is in the bio of the show here on the live show, the video platforms, and also the audio platforms. So check them out. Guys, we've got a great show for you tonight. But before we get into anything too much further, I'd like to introduce my great friend and new co-host, Mr. Ryan Kurt. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty good. I am making a huge sacrifice by being here for all you folks. My Minnesota Vikings are playing, and it pains me to miss a game, but I am doing it for you guys. Also, can I get some yep cocks in the chat?
One of these days, somebody is gonna drop some yep cocks in the chat for you. I promise.
We got a bunch of yeps last week.
Well, there's only 12 people watching on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
But there's a lot on other streams, though. We got the Twitter,
or leave a comment that says "Yep, cock."
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, thank you. You also could possibly be watching this on Twitter. 2 different Twitters. There's the Break the Cycle Twitter. Also, my personal Twitter at Balzania925. It's also my gamer tag if you ever want to get down on some Fortnite or some Rocket League or Modern Warfare or any of that stuff. I said Modern Warfare. I'm getting old, man.
Is it? What's the new one?
I don't remember what the new one is.
I thought they remade Modern Warfare.
They did.
Something?
They've done Modern Warfare and Black Ops several times.
Okay.
I don't know what the newest one is. I haven't been playing Call of Duty for a while.
Oh, Warzone.
Well, Warzone's like their
Battle Royale.
That's their like Fortnite game, right? Mm-hmm. Except you don't have to do all that dumb building shit that my son's good at and I suck at. And of course, we're also streaming to Odyssey now. Thankfully, finally, I'm very excited to be streaming to Odyssey. So if you have an Odyssey account, go check us out on Odyssey. And also Facebook. We are on the Facebook. If you look up Break the Cycle with Joshua Smith on Facebook, we're there as well. So we have all of those options for you guys to watch. But we do appreciate you watching on YouTube because we can grift the ad revenue into being stay-at-home dads which is our real goal, right? But guys, we got a great guest for you tonight. I'm very, very excited. I've been following this gentleman for a while. He is a perennial candidate at this point. He's currently running for Iowa Govenor as a Libertarian, and he's a really cool guy. His name is Mr. Rick Stewart. Sir, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for the dinner you fed me beforehand. It was a home-cooked meal. I haven't had one of them for, I don't know, maybe last spring. I had a home-cooked meal. So totally appreciate it. Totally psyched to be here and looking forward to a great...
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's kind of one of the new goals. So we have this goal of having guests in the studio. We built this great studio. It's kind of like Field of Dreams. I live in Iowa, so it's kind of like Field of Dreams, right? Like if you build it, they will come. So we've been kind of limited to having Iowa guests so far, which is fine. Iowa people are cool. We need to put Iowa on the map and let people know that Iowa is actually a cool place, but not California. We don't want California to know how cool Iowa is. Please, California, New York, Iowa is terrible. It's very cold. Negative 30 in the winter. You're going to die. There's no way you can survive here. Trust me, I'm from California, and I've already died several times trying to survive here. No, but seriously, it is a cool place, and we do need to put some more Iowa people on the map. I had no idea how cool Iowa was till I moved here in 2020. I was like, wow, this is a really fucking cool place. I actually really enjoy it here, other than the winters.
That's only half the time.
We should lower Rick's mic a little bit because on the video it's covering up most of his face.
Oh, well, he's got to make sure
be able to see that beautiful mug.
How about this? Is that better?
Yeah, that's fine. It's a directional mic.
I'm gonna move it back because honestly, the bottom half of my face looks pretty bad.
Until we get until we can all get Shure mics like the mic that I'm using, and we can all get M50s. That's just how it's going to be. Unfortunately, if you guys want to help us get new equipment for the studio, we still have a lot of things we got to get to make it perfect. You can join the Patreon or the Subscribe Star, and that helps pay for all kinds of production stuff. So we would appreciate it. And of course, bringing guests in is what is the other goal. We made this pact where we're going to bring guests in. When they're here, they get to hang out with the family. They get to eat dinner with the family, and then they can crash here for the night as well. But we want to fly people in from out of state, and to do that, we got to have money. So yeah, if you guys want to see some cool guests, you want us to get Ron Paul in the studio, we're gonna need some money, man. So, but anyways, Rick, why don't we get to you, man? Why Governor of Iowa?
It's pretty easy. I've already run 4 times in the past, twice for U.S. Senate, once for Lynn County Sheriff, and once for Iowa Secretary of Agriculture. So, I'm an experienced campaigner, although my career was as a CEO of a natural foods company, not as a politician.
But now, you started that company, right?
Yeah, 1976. It's a $200 million company today. It has 600 employees. It's well known in the natural foods industry, and I'm very proud of the job we did. I was I was Small Business Person of the Year in 1992, and I was first national runner-up. So other people have recognized that this is an amazing business.
Nice.
But I retired and I messed around for a while. I've traveled a lot, but after a while, I got tired of just sitting around and complaining about politics. So I thought, well, maybe if I did something, it could get better. And I've been doing that now since 2014. Iowa Govenor is a special run, though, because if the Libertarian Party gets 2% of the vote, that means me, then we become a major party in Iowa, and that's never happened in a governor's race before. 1.7 is the max. We got 2% when Gary Johnson was the Libertarian Party's presidential candidate. When was that? 2016. But we failed to keep it. So the next time around, we only got like 1.5%. I'm very confident that we can break the 2% barrier. In fact, reaching towards the sky, it'd be great if we came in at 5%.
5 to 10 would be perfect. Well, and here's the thing. I think a lot of people don't understand. Iowa is a pretty libertarian state, man. I mean, Ron Paul did really well here. In his run for president, it was one of the best. Was it the best state, or Nevada was the best?
I don't know. I was too young at the time to.
Yeah, 2008, you were like what, 5, 6?
13.
Okay, fair. But it is a really libertarian state. I mean, people here want to not have to deal with the government as much as possible, unless they're, the farmer thing is probably. And I've had conversations with somebody who's running for U.S. Senate or U.S. Congress in Minnesota, and as a libertarian. And one of the hardest things to overcome in the Midwest is the farmer subsidies, right? And so, I mean, is that something that you've prepared for, and you have and as somebody who's owned a small business here, probably as somebody who was like health foods and stuff like that, you've probably dealt with farmers in Iowa. I mean, is that something that you plan for, this farmer subsidy that the farmers rely on and that kind of stuff?
Well, I tell it to them straight, and you never meet a farmer in private who disagrees, but I say, you'll be better off if you don't get any of those subsidies. And they go, yeah, but I can't say that out loud. The truth of it is right now, all they do is they get basically free crop insurance. They have to pay a little bit, but can you imagine if you and I got free house insurance or free car insurance or something? You wouldn't really want to give that up, would you? Because paying for it out of your own pocket, that costs a lot more than if you get the government to pay it for you. So, but farmers, they're hooked on it, except the truth of it is they're making a lot of money when prices are high, and they lose a little bit of money when prices are low. And they're not, your family farmer that's got 40 acres and a mule and a plow in the backyard. These guys have big acreage. 1,000, 2,000, I don't know what the biggest is, but it could be 5,000 acres.
I think the biggest acreage owned here is actually owned by Bill Gates.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen him out there with a plow
out
yet.
of our state.
Well, Microsoft does have a huge campus here.
Yeah, I know. I worked at it.
Did you?
They have a data center out here in Des Moines, and I worked at it. I was a supervisor for a bunch of engineers replacing batteries and servers, and I sat on my ass and watched them do work.
Well, they try to head.
Can I get that gig?
Yeah.
No, I meant Byte, or is it Microbyte? No,
Microsoft. You probably could. Like every last one of them knew what they were doing, and there was just an absurd amount of hoops you had to jump through. Every decision had to be run up 7 layers of the chain of command.
Right.
Like we were going through metal detectors probably 20 times a day. It was insane.
Well, I famously work in data centers. That's what I do for a job. I'm a critical facilities engineer, and everything in those data centers, in every data center, it's not just Microsoft. Microsoft's worse than most of the other ones, but it all has to follow a method procedure and standard operating procedures, and you have to sign off on literally every single little thing you do, because if a rack goes down and you lose time, they have to be able to pin it on somebody and get them the fuck out of there. That's pretty much how it works, dude.
Yeah, we had 2 individual servers go down at one point and we probably did 600, and it was supposed to be
I'm sure someone got fired over it.
No.
Wow.
Something broke, and there was actually a little fire that got started, and then it wasn't really anybody's fault.
Microsoft tries to headhunt me literally once a month, dude, to come work there. I'm not. They'll pay me more money than I make right now, but I just can't. I can't do it.
No, within 2 days, I knew that I wanted out, and it was supposed to be a 6-week project. I got it done in 5, and that was with getting COVID during the middle of it.
Oh, geez.
So I missed 10 days of work.
I didn't know you could get COVID from servers.
The servers gave you COVID. Well, this is 5G, man. It was the 5G. It gave you. There's 5G all over those buildings, man. But Rick, so I know that's a hard thing to overcome, and I know that farmers mostly behind doors, they're like, we'd be better off, and they would. It's the truth, they would. But let's talk a little bit about your guys. So I've seen some of your campaign ads and videos. Famously, the most recent one that you've put out that was pretty wild and cool. But let's talk about your platform. What is your platform? What is it that you want to see happen in Iowa exactly?
Well, a platform has evolved because you got to sort of commit to it early in the spring to put the platform on your business cards, and then as things change, you just cross stuff off. But the big issues that are in front of us that I think are really advantageous for my campaign this year are eminent domain abuse. They're trying to build pipelines to pump CO2 through Iowa to go someplace else, and the farmers are angry as hell because they're going to go right through their land.
Of course.
So that's a huge issue, and our current governor won't commit to whether she'll stop it or not. And then other issues for me personally are ending the drug war. Definitely, it's been on my agenda since early 90s.
Sure.
It's the worst idea America ever had, and I want on my gravestone, I want to say, here lies the man who ended the drug war.
Yeah.
That's going to take a lot of work. But seriously, you can see this happening. Just look at what's all the states that have legalized marijuana. The psychedelic-assisted therapy is growing full speed ahead. Some of it's going to get passed in the FDA in the next year or two. That's certainly for me an absolutely gigantic issue. I've got a lot of other ones. Abortion is just what everybody wants to know where you stand on it, but I don't get a lot of feedback on that. I believe life begins at conception and it should be protected, adored. I just don't think the government is the person who should do that. Don't trust the government because they're just composed of politicians. So keep your hands off of everybody's bodies for every reason. They belong to ourselves. It's funny when you're out there talking to people. It turns out that everybody actually has just one issue they care about, and that's the issue I care about, at least as long as I'm talking to them. And it's not always the same thing. A lot of times, I had a lady that monopolized my time for half an hour because she wanted declawing cats to be prohibited by the government. That's the kind of stuff that people actually care about.
Hashtag cat mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a really bad idea to declaw your cat. I just don't think the government should necessarily arbitrate that.
Right. It is supposed to be pretty bad to declaw your cats. I've never declawed my cats before.
I didn't either. And it's not difficult to trim a cat's nail.
I don't even. I don't think I've ever trimmed. I don't think I've ever trimmed a cat's nails. I think I just let the cat have. I don't think they grow like super long. They go to a point and then they don't go. I don't think they go any more than that.
They get really, really sharp. I have a big old scar on my wrist from my cat.
Sounds like you got an asshole cat.
What were you doing to your cat?
I'm picking it up.
Just picking it up off the floor and it clawed you.
And it wasn't happy, and its claw got like caught on my shirt, I think. Then it was like trying to get away, and just big old mark on my wrist. I had a doctor at one point ask me if I had been cutting myself because of it.
You didn't rub any graphene in it, and it got better that way. No, God, I just keep falling flat trying to make jokes on you, dude. I'm sorry.
Yeah. There's so much to make fun of.
I thought the throwing corn joke last week was hilarious.
My brother thought it was hilarious, but
I think you have to have lived in or near the Midwest to think that was a funny joke.
Yeah,
I really do, because I don't think people understand just how much corn there is in Iowa and Illinois and Nebraska.
Is there anything except corn? I mean, I know there's soybeans, but is there anything serious except corn? I tried
to explain. My mom and my sister come and visit here, right? And they fly in. And they fly into Des Moines, and they're like, "Oh, it's like a big city here." And I'm like, I need you guys to understand that you can drive for 15 minutes and be in the middle of fucking nowhere. As soon as you leave Des Moines, I mean, you're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. That's the best part of Iowa, in my opinion, is you don't have to hang out with other people. But
I agree.
You do have to like corn.
You do have to, and ranch dressing.
No, we're not going to go there. Okay, there's no way we're going to go there.
Hey, so we were talking earlier. As people know on my show, the reason why I became a libertarian was I joined the military right after 9/11. I within 4 months of joining the military boot camp A school attached to the USS Constellation, took off on what was supposed to be a year-long world cruise, decommissioning the oldest carrier in the fleet. All the way around the world. I was going to get to see all these great countries. It was going to be amazing. And then we went to Hong Kong, Singapore, transited the Straits of Hormuz into the Gulf. George Bush declared war in Iraq. We stayed 6 months in Iraq. We were the shock and awe campaign. That was our battle group. And I was really jaded on that. I was like, man, we're just bombing the shit out of this big city where people live, And so when I came back, that was like, you talk about how people have their one issue. I have a ton of issues, but my biggest issue is the anti-war issue. And that's why, but I know that's a federal level thing. And, it's not like a whole lot of like city council members and shit like that, or have any kind of say in that stuff, or even governors, but you do control the National Guard, which is nice. And having a governor that would actually humor passing something like defend the guard would be pretty amazing. So I joined the military right after 9/11 because I thought I was going to go protect my country. And that was what kind of jaded me on the military industrial complex. I got back. I was like, I don't want to be a part of this shit. And then I found Ron Paul, worked on Ron Paul's campaign in 2008, and then moved over to the Libertarian Party in 2010 after I watched how they treated Ron Paul and the Republican Party. And then I've worked with the Libertarian Party at a leadership and campaign level since 2015. But you had a really crazy story on 9/11. What happened there?
I was going to Afghanistan on 9/11. I had a flight to Paris, a flight to Delhi. I was going to take the bus across through the Khyber Pass and into Kabul. So I was sitting, I was listening to the radio at the kitchen sink, waiting for my taxi to come along when I heard that there was a plane that hit the the World Trade Center. So I turned on my TV, and of course, you know what happened after that. My plane didn't take off for a week. And obviously, my trip to Afghanistan got canceled because it wasn't a good place to go those days.
And you were going on leisure. I mean, this was a leisure.
I was planning on doing a month just in Kabul because I thought, well, it's safe in Kabul. I don't have to worry too much about it. I was just going to scope out what I might be able to do to help the women in Afghanistan because they...
Yeah, it's brutal there.
Yeah, it's horrible. But I knew what was going on.
He's a ladies' man,
attention.
though. We heard that right. We caught it.
In Afghanistan, they all have that thing over their head.
The hijab, yeah.
I've been to Afghanistan. I was in Afghanistan before any of you guys were born, 1972, as a tourist. And it's a fantastic place, lovely people, lovely scenery. You can get some of the most incredible bread baked right on the street.
Yeah, they make really good bread.
Yeah, that's just awesome. They bake it to order, but it only takes like 30 seconds.
But the whole Middle East makes great bread.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it doesn't. India and then the Middle East. I mean, the best breads in the world are from those places. I mean, really, truly, the lavash and the pita and all this great shit. It all comes from the Middle East, and then of course, famously naan from India, which is my other kind of favorite bread. And you can get 5,000 different kinds of naan as well.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's artisanal bread at its best. It's not this like stuff that we just invented 5, 10, 15 years ago in America.
Been around for.
I'm not complaining about artisanal bread. I'm just saying they've been doing it for 5, 10,000 years, so they're really good at it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, man. And if you guys have any questions for this Mr. Rick Stewart tonight, make sure to drop them in the super chats. $1 to whatever, however high it goes, and you will get your questions read on the show. Ryan, how many times have you been to Afghanistan, buddy?
I have been 0 times. I have actually never left the country.
Ever?
Nope.
Not once.
Nope. If it weren't for COVID, there's a good chance I might have honeymooned in Japan, but Japan would be really the only place I'd be interested in visiting outside the United States.
Officially issue you an invitation to come visit me in Guatemala. I got a great place down there.
Do you have a place in Guatemala?
Yeah, I've had it since 2003, so we're going on 20 years.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool, man. I wish I could just, maybe can I bring all 55 kids down or what?
We will make room. The old jokes. It's like, how many people can you fit on a Guatemalan bus?
Yeah.
There's always room for one more.
Nice. We were talking a little bit about Scott Horton before the show as well. You saw my books back here, and of course I got everything Scott's ever done. I'm a big fan, and he's a good friend of mine, which is funny because when we did our first show in the new studio, James Gentleman, who's a Minnesota Libertarian, he came down and he brought me an autographed bottle of the hot sauce, Hotter Than the Sun.
Yeah, I saw that. I wanted to steal that from you tonight.
Well, and I, being as good friends with Scott Horton as I have been for a few years now, and seeing him all over the place and hanging out with him and having these great conversations, have never gotten any of my Scott Horton stuff signed by Scott Horton. So it was really nice to finally have something, but I didn't personally get it signed, which is just very bizarre to me. I don't know why. But
you didn't buy it on eBay. You earned it.
Yeah, in fact, I think I bought one of Scott's books on Amazon. I think it was enough already. I think that's the one that I bought from Amazon, and I think he gave me the other ones. I'm pretty sure.
I want to jump in on that because I read his book on Afghanistan, and I felt like a blood brother with him because half of it I already knew.
Sure.
But the other half, man, only somebody like him could know all that. And I was so grateful that he wrote that book for me, just personally, selfishly, because I'm very interested in Afghanistan. I've followed it ever since I was there in 1972, very closely. I knew what was going on in Afghanistan right up to the day that 9/11 happened. I love that country, and he wrote twice as much as I had ever known about it.
The guy's a living Rolodex of knowledge of the Middle East and its wars and the U.S.'s involvement and Russia's involvement. And
something else I want to say about him. Nothing that he ever says is unbelievable. There's a lot of people that pretend to be experts, and then after a while you go, wait a second, that's definitely not right. But when you listen to Scott or when you read his stuff, it's like the gospel.
Sure.
I'm sure he's made mistakes. But there's a big difference between somebody that actually knows what's going on and somebody who's just writing about something that they spent a year researching.
Well, and Scott and I have disagreed on things in the past. Undoubtedly, there's things that Scott and I have disagreed on. They're few and far between. But he's also, when he does know that he messed something up, he will immediately say, retract it or
yeah.
make it right. And he does get really upset if people put out theories on things with no backing. I know because I had him on my show and he yelled at me because I could say Nick Sarwark's a Fed. Right. and I'm going to stick to that story, and I'll tell you why. Because I've sat on a board with Nick Sarwark for 2 years. So I have firsthand knowledge of watching this man run in the opposite direction of success every chance we got. So that's just me, and other people agree.
The key signal was when he pulled out his badge that said I'm a Fed on it.
I don't know. So you're in the Libertarian Party. There's kind of been this schism over the last couple of years with the Mises Caucus and kind of this old guard. They call them the regime libertarians, who didn't really want to upset the status quo too much. They just want a little bit here and there and there. And the Mises Caucus comes around and is like, nah, man, we're going to hit the Rothbard button tomorrow. We're going to start fighting this shit today. I mean, you've been around the Libertarian Party for quite some time, right?
2012 is when I became a big L libertarian.
Okay. And why?
Well, I was working on the not the Gary Johnson campaign, but with the Commission on Presidential Debates to try and get Gary Johnson into the debates.
Sure.
And I was in Washington, and I was 100% involved. Usually when I do things, I have like a 3-month ADD problem, but I am totally into whatever it is I'm doing if it's something that's important. And during that time period, I was just paid enough attention to what's happening with libertarianism that I signed up in the fall. And I've been a big L libertarian ever since, and I'm quite proud of it. And I'd be very surprised if I ever was not a big L libertarian, because it's important for us to have a party.
Sure. We
need to win elections. And the reason that we have parties is to win elections. We don't have a party so we can fight with each other. That's just part of having a party.
Right.
That's not the purpose of having a party.
Right.
So all of my attention, even inside Iowa, I'm not a member of the SCC, the State Central Committee. I never have been. It's not because I don't think I could do a good job. It's because I think the better job that I can do is to run as a candidate. Because if I get out there and promote my candidacy as a libertarian, then people discover that there are libertarians, and hopefully they themselves will become a libertarian. So that's where I put all my energy. And so, to be honest, that whole libertarian kerfuffle, it's like the only thing I know is what everybody else told me, because I don't hang out on social media or anything. But people talk, so I'm fairly aware of what's going on. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what you expect. We're a political party. We argue with each other. But we should always understand that the goal of the party is to get votes. And if we can't get votes, well, we need to change what we're doing. And if we can get votes, let's do some more of it.
Right. Well, I got to say, the man knows how to campaign. He showed up to my house with a big truck, and then behind that truck is a giant trailer, huge fucking trailer, that's got his whole wrap on it with all this gubernatorial stuff. Iowa's your candidate for governor. The man's campaigning correctly, and we appreciate that. It's as somebody who's been working at I've been in local, state, and national leadership since 2016. So we're talking 6 years now. I've worked with candidates all over the country. I've been to 48 states over the last 5 years. I've worked on ballot access issues, and I've worked with a lot of candidates. A lot. Candidates come to me, hey, can you help me out here? Can you help me out here? I've done social media for candidates. I've worked on campaign plans for candidates. I've tried to help as much as possible. And I can tell you that there's a lot of candidates out there that are like, I want to be a candidate. All right, perfect. What's your campaign plan? And they're like, I don't have one. I'm like, okay, well, you're not a candidate yet, and you can't be a fucking candidate until you sit down and write a campaign plan, and then write a platform, and do all that stuff before you ever even announce that you're running for as a candidate, because those are the things that are going to direct you in where to go on your candidacy. And once you have that stuff written out, now you can focus on kissing babies and shaking hands, right? Which is really the important thing when it comes to running for office, because I worked with libertarians who are like, no, I'm not going to knock any doors.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to put any money into marketing. No, I'm not going to put out signs or anything like that. I'm like, how the fuck do you think the Republicans and Democrats win? It's not their policies, dude. You know what I mean? Their policies are not great. I mean, look.
Did they start to have policies?
Is
that new?
Well, here's the thing. There's some Republicans that I like. There's even been one or two Democrats in my life that I've liked, and I've been like, well, he was a good anti-war. Of course, the anti-war Democrats are gone.
Can you name names?
Tulsi Gabbard was like tolerable.
Ugh. Don't get me started on
Like
Tulsi.
mainly on the anti-war front.
I'm not one of those libertarians that stumps for Tulsi. I'm very anti-Tulsi. I think she's first of all, she's on the World Economic Forum's Young Leaders Board. Okay, so don't get me. You know how I feel about globalists, man.
That changed my opinion quite a bit, but.
Her and Dan Crenshaw.
I thought during the primaries, if they wanted somebody that would really, really threaten Trump, Tulsi would have been the person.
She would have been the one. And I said
she would have destroyed him.
Well, and I said that during the whole thing. I said, look, if they really wanted to fucking win, they should have they should have had her be the winner of the primary, because she actually had a chance, because she would have drawn from libertarians, she would have drawn from Republicans, and she would have drawn from the Green Party, she would have drawn from the Democrats. I mean, she really could have put together a good campaign.
Her respect for the military would have been enough to get half of neocons.
Yeah, but she's also a fucking globalist.
Oh yeah, she's a fucking globalist. But
and she's anti-gun.
There's a bunch of neocons that all they care about is their respect for the military.
She's pro socialism. She's it's funny because all the, libertarians, they're like, oh, Tulsi's anti-war, we love her, she should run in the Libertarian Party. And it's like, have you ever seen the meme of Homer where it's like he's got all the safety pins in his back and he's holding up all the fat behind him, and then on the front it says anti-war, and on the back it's like socialism, gun grabbing. Like that's Tulsi. And so I'm not a libertarian that trusts Tulsi, and a lot of people are like, oh, you got to trust Tulsi. I'm like, no, dude, she's a fucking, I don't care if she's anti-war.
I don't trust her, but she was a Democrat that had some appeal to me, which was like, that's a terrifying.
She was
candidate
one of the better.
To run.
She was one of the better Democrats. I'll give her that. But she's also on the board, or she's one of the young leaders for the World Economic Forum.
I didn't know about this till now.
We got to give candidates a break, though. Come on, I don't have heroes and I don't have villains.
Sure.
So I just do a checklist, and all the issues that are important to me, I put them down in from top to bottom. For me, number one issue is drug war. But there's more than one issue. And then you just look at the candidates, and who cares what they look like? Who cares what their personality is? Who cares what they've done in the past? What I care about is, what's your policy on A, B, C, D, E, F, G? Because I'm never going to get one, unless they're a libertarian, who's like, correct. So when I talk about Tulsi, I don't know anything about Tulsi, but,
she's good on anti-war stuff.
And
walk
she's
through
easy on the eyes.
issues, and then do the same exercise for everybody else. And then when you look at it, you go, well, this one scores more, so I guess I'm going to support them, even though I disagree with half the stuff they say.
I'm telling you, look, if she had been the demo, listen, this would have been peak amazingness. Okay, right here. Okay, Dave Smith or somebody like Dave Smith, someone like that as a Libertarian Party nominee. Okay, Democratic Party nominee Tulsi Gabbard. Republican nominee Rand Paul or Thomas Massey. I'd be like, you know what? No matter what happens,
there's somebody anti-war.
One of these people is going to make something better. Okay. Now I think Rand,
a lot of stuff better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that Tulsi's a gun grabber, and I think she's a socialist, and but I do believe that she would be like, you know what? No more fucking wars. We're going to end these wars. I do believe that she would do that.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Okay.
Absolutely. And we can work on the other ones.
Applaud people in the Uniparty when they have good policy. Like, that's something we should do. Be like, hey, this is awesome.
Oh, no doubt.
Keep that up.
Oh, no doubt. And I've offered to send economics in one lesson to Tulsi Gabbard several fucking times, dude. And I think she's gotten better on some issues too over the last 4 or 5 years. I really do.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard like anything from her since Google.
I will never ever, as long as she is a young leader for the World Economic Forum.
If you're associated with the World Economic Forum, I don't trust you in the slightest.
You're a globalist, and you're probably lying, and you have a one world agenda, and I'm all good.
And you got a big bank account.
Huge bank account, no doubt about it. Yeah. Dan Crenshaw is another one, dude.
Crenshaw is associated with the WEF.
He's the same thing that Tulsi is. He's a young leader for the WEF. And here's what people don't understand: like the World Economic Forum. They've been very clear about what they're doing.
Oh yeah,
it's not a conspiracy theory to say these things.
And you will be happy.
This is not a conspiracy theory to say these things.
It's all out in the open.
Klaus Schwab
read a Brave New World and said, "Hey, this is a pretty good idea."
Klaus Schwab Klaus Schwab, has said very clearly, we are getting people into every level of government all around the world so that we can institute our vision, which is the Great Reset, which is this is what we're doing. And
with Boris Johnson being out, and then the new person is like completely endorsed by the WF. It's like they threw Boris Johnson out, and then the WF got to throw their own person in there.
Are you shocked?
No.
I'm not shocked at all. So, how do you feel about the World Economic Forum and globalism, sir?
Well, I definitely want an invitation, but it's for the...
Just for the bank account? Or what?
I'm sure they have good food. They probably have, who knows, beautiful women serving the food to the...
The food is adrenochrome and cockroaches, buddy. That's what they're eating over there.
No, that's what everybody else is going to be eating.
I don't do well with people that pretend to know a lot of stuff that they don't know.
Sure.
At a cocktail party, I don't find them very interesting, and I don't think I'd find too many other people at the World Economic Forum interesting. Although I will say this, I would probably enjoy, in a bizarre sort of way, talking to them on an individual level.
Right.
But when they get together, they're dangerous. You cannot escape the vortex of bad stuff that they pull together in one place and suck you into. So I wouldn't want to go near that particular organization.
Yeah,
I would like to go skiing though.
They're blood sucking.
Vortex of narcissism.
No. The best. Listen, I'm not super happy with Alex Jones right now.
I'm not either.
But he's right. They're a literal group of potbelly vampire goblins, dude.
Yeah,
that's what they are.
And they're summoning demons that are going to eat your children in the night.
He may be right. You know what I mean? I don't know. Hey, can you do me a favor, Rick, and pull the mic to your left side a little bit? Like the whole. Can you get up and help?
There we go. Way over here.
No, I want to take the whole stand over a little bit and still have it pointed at the left side of your mouth. Yeah,
do
that way, and then you can bring it back over. And now let's see. Now we can see Rick's pretty face.
Oh,
there
geez,
we
that's
go.
too bad.
Yeah, no, that's much better.
Hey, I got a question for you. Did you notice that I started growing a beard today just for you?
Are you? I didn't notice. I'm sorry.
No, I haven't had a beard for probably 5 or 10 years, and I looked at myself in the mirror today. I said, I want to look like Josh.
It's a good beard.
But I started a little late.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, for the people who don't know, I could not grow any type of beard at all until I was about 33 years old.
What?
Yep.
What happened?
I don't know. All of a sudden,
radiation treatment, or
no? What's really funny is I got alopecia out of the blue when I was probably 33 or 34, and my hair just started falling out all over the place. And I used to keep just like a little, they call them a bro strap. It's just like a little strap that goes down to here and a little goatee. But I couldn't grow any on my cheeks or my neck or anything like that. And I got a little spot in my chin right here where my hair just fell out. And I was like, what the hell is that? But I didn't give it any stock. I was like, well, I've never been able to really grow a beard. It's probably just another patch I wasn't sure of. And I was getting my hair cut by my normal barber. And I was like, hey, I got this weird spot on my chin, and I don't pay it any mind. She's like, well, did you know about this spot on your head? And I'm like, excuse me? She's like, yeah, you got like a quarter-sized spot up here on the top of your head. I was like, holy shit. No, I had no idea. And at that time, I was still doing like my young kid, like, what's up? Let's go gym, tanning, and laundry haircut, where it was like high fade and then forward in the front and up. It's kind of like a faux hawk, and it didn't cover the spots. So that's how I started doing this kind of comb over haircut, because it was the only way I could cover the spots on the top of my head. But then it started falling out everywhere. I mean, I had spots all over the sides and the back and my beard, my mustache. Not my beard, but my goatee. And so I was like, well, fuck it. I got alopecia. So I shaved my head, and that looked horrible. I'm not a head shaved guy. I have to have hair. But what would happen is I'd fall out in these little spots, and then they'd grow back after a month or so. Platinum blonde. Like brand new baby hair. When I was a baby, I had platinum blonde hair until I was, 3 or 4. So it was like brand new fucking baby hair. And then it all grew back. I get a spot every once in a while, but as it grew back, I started getting facial hair. At like 30, 33, 34 years old, all of a sudden I started growing beard.
That is the first time I've ever heard a story that even remotely connects to that. It's like, what? You lost it all, and then you got more back?
It was
so. I want to catch some alopecia, right? Can we rub some thing?
It's not contagious.
Because I've got this, but underneath the hat, there's nothing there.
Not much going on. Well, you can always get the plugs, man.
There's no way. There's no way.
They just look so bad.
You know, you look like my vegetable garden or something. when
It's
you get those
so
things.
bad, dude. I don't know. I do have a good hairline.
Yeah.
Still
you do.
for
Yeah.
being. I'll be 40 in March.
Yeah,
So
you have a
congratulations.
really good hairline for being.
And I only have
30s.
I only have a gray or two here and there. One in my beard.
I have more gray than you do.
Yeah, I'm doing.
Do you think
all right,
that, like, you know, maybe in life God has said like women get periods and men get bald?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
they
haven't
don't
had my period yet.
They
either.
don't get bald, right? Why is that? How come we get bald? Now,
Women-
I'm not
women-
asking for a period, but
Women do actually lose a lot of hair as they get older.
yeah, but they do a damn good job of hiding it.
They're very good. They also dye their grays,
They
and
do
men
everything.
We get gray, and we're like, yes, fucking wisdom. You know, what I mean, like finally gonna get my salt. I'm waiting on the salt and pepper. I want the shit.
23 when I started getting gray, and I was like, a little early for this. Like, I hope at least 30s. Like when I
It
reach
doesn't make you
30,
look
I'm
old,
mostly
though.
dark
It
still.
makes you look distinguished. What's wrong? I mean, I don't have much gray. Well,
Gray's good.
I don't have anything actually, but
Gray is good.
I do have a lot of gray in my beard, but I shave it so it doesn't make a difference.
I think gray.
my
I think
dad
gray is
was
good.
completely gray by the time he was like 35. So
I want to shout out to Outlawed Thoughts. Great podcast, by the way. My good friend Leighton, he said he dropped a $2 super chat and
Yeah.
said graphene. I'm sure that was directed at you.
Oh
Ian.
yeah, 100%. So there's a running joke with the audience that are you familiar with Tim Pool at all?
Yeah, sure.
So he has one of his co-hosts, Ian Crossland, and our entire audience just calls me Ian Crossland because apparently I'm similar to him.
Somebody in the chat said my hair came back. It was like a boost in testosterone because I started having kids. But I already.
Testosterone actually drops significantly once you start having kids.
That's what they say, dude. But I've definitely got. It feels like I got more than I did 5 years ago for sure. But I had 2 kids. A lot of people don't know that I had 2 kids before I met Julia and started having more kids at almost 40, like a fucking weirdo.
That's what men are for.
It's true. That's all we're good for, really.
We can reproduce until we're the day we die.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's good because we need more people in the world.
Yeah. I had my oldest daughter who lived with us with her daughter and then moved out. And she's amazing, doing a great job.
I think it's like 55 for men. They don't recommend you reproduce because there's higher risks of significant complications for that.
Wait a second. Complications for who?
The baby. So it's
The
like
baby?
women after 30, 33.
Like, wait a
35.
second. Our
35 is
sperm
high.
quality deteriorates.
34 is the first year where it starts, where there's like a significant jump, and then after that there's a significant jump every year until women can't have kids. In terms of number and level of complications that happen, that happens at like 55 for men.
I went to nursing school, okay? And in nursing school, a lot of people don't know that about me. I went to nursing school, and in nursing school, they beat labor and delivery, fetal development, all this shit into our head because a lot of the nurses in the field that I was a LPN, I was getting my LPN. They go to work in labor and delivery, and so you learn a lot about that shit. And I'm telling you, they said 35, everything 35 up is high risk pregnancy.
Yeah, it's everything 30, like
35.
34 is when the first leap happens, and it goes from like some 0.0 something percent of most significant complications to like 1%, and then after that it goes up to like 3%.
Well, my cousin Joni's like 43, 44, maybe 45, and she just had a baby, and it's super awesome. She's a wonderful kid. I really like her a lot. Rick, let's get back to your campaign, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's okay, so we have a governor now. And I've talked a lot about Reynolds on my show. I think that Reynolds handled the pandemic fairly well.
Tallest midget in the circus.
I know. Compared to most of the other governors around the country, we were extremely lucky to have what we had during the pandemic.
We were.
I moved here famously. I am an expat from California. I left on a plane to Des Moines from San Francisco at 11:55 on March 15th or 16th. the day they were closing at midnight.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so there was a 24-hour lockdown going into place at midnight. My flight left to SFO at 11:55. I came to Iowa with a suitcase and a backpack, and I never looked back. I've been here. March will be 3 years that I've been here, and we got extremely lucky. They didn't close down all the restaurants. They did like a 50% capacity briefly. The mask mandate was a joke. No one cared about it. No one. Yeah. And then we were never, we pretty famously as well. The vaccine mandate was shot down. Our government here actually fought the vaccine mandate, as opposed to other governments that laid down and died. So I mean, there are some good things about Governor Reynolds. I will say that. And I've been a fan of some of the things she's did, especially during the pandemic, which in my opinion was the most alarming thing in my lifetime as far as our own people, right? But what are as far as you, besides, and let's not get too far into the drug war. I understand that Iowa is one of the worst when it comes to the drug war, okay? Yeah. No doubt about it. They're still locking people up for simple possession in Iowa of weed. It fucking blows my mind. I think it's dumb. It's stupid. As a guy coming from the West Coast where you can walk into a 7-Eleven and buy weed, you know what I mean? It's very weird to me.
It's so destructive and dangerous, not just to the people that are smoking and distributing the weed, but the people arresting them. I lost a good family friend last year who was a state trooper because he was making a drug arrest and the guy shot him in the chest.
It's crazy, dude. But that sucks.
You can't really come up with a good story about the drug war.
No, nobody can.
There's just too many. Too many bad ones.
Right.
It's endless. I don't collect them, and I don't remember them for too long. But every time one comes along, I just shake my head and say, I don't know how honest people can live in this environment. I think I was just telling you, wasn't I, that my son has a guy he worked with that lives right across the street from us. He and his wife had a toddler of 2, and then they had a baby. And a couple of months after the baby was born, he died in the bed. Right. They were frantic. They called 911. 911 came over, and they said, "Oh, okay. Well, put this baby in the ambulance, and we're going to take the 2-year-old because you've got a bong on the table." They kidnapped the 2-year-old
because of a bong.
Yeah, paraphernalia. Now the good news is, 3 days later they gave the kid back. But can you imagine that if you're a parent and you just had a baby and the baby is dead, you obviously freak out. You call 911 like you're supposed to do. And then who comes over? They come over and they steal your 2-year-old child from you because you had a bong on the table. That's the drug war. And these things happen all the time, every day, all across America, including in Iowa. I can't understand how anybody can hear just that story and not say, wait a second, something's wrong here.
Right.
I have a good related story. I worked at a Casey's. I worked at a couple.
Best breakfast pizza in the entire world, by the way.
Some of the best pizza out there.
In case you're wondering, I do want to say, because someone came here and said, and was asked, what's the best breakfast pizza in Iowa?
Casey's.
And no, he said QT or some dumb shit. You know who I'm talking about, right? The Beto, when he was running for president.
Oh.
And he's like,
Beta?
I've been to Iowa. I love Iowa. In fact, the breakfast pizza at QT is amazing. And everyone's like, what the fuck?
Which side of Iowa did you come to?
Yeah, dude, it's definitely Casey's. Casey's has the best breakfast pizza. Anyways, I just needed to make sure that everyone knows.
Her parents dealt and made meth in their home, and when she was 3, she grabbed something off the counter and took a sip, and her parents were so scared of getting arrested, getting their child taken away, and spending them essentially 10 years behind bars, that they didn't even take their child to the hospital. So she stayed up for 72 hours walking in circles crying because she couldn't sleep because a 3-year-old had gotten into meth.
That's just crazy. Well, I always like to go to the bottom of this, and if meth was available in the pharmacy like it should be to anybody who walked in the door that was old enough, the parents wouldn't have been making meth.
Yeah.
You can take all these horrid stories and just work them right back down to drug war. It causes nothing but pain and torture and expense and misery to people all around the world. that's what it is. So fight against it, folks, and fight hard.
And I'd like to congratulate the drugs on winning the war on drugs, because
it's over, yeah.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
And, well, here's the thing. I was just thinking about this the other day. So I lived in Portland, Oregon, maybe Southern Washington. It's the same place, really.
Yeah.
Right. I lived in Vancouver, Washington, which is right across the bridge from Portland, Oregon, but also lived in Portland. So I don't remember exactly which part I was living in when this happened. But when they legalized weed, in Washington, I was like still a pretty heavy-ish weed smoker at the time. I don't really smoke weed or do anything. I barely drink or anything now, just because I have a bunch of kids and I don't really have the time. When my kids finally move out when I'm 70, I'm going to smoke a lot of pot.
Over.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to smoke a lot of pot. So I was like, dude, this is the dream, man. Like I can walk into a store and go buy weed. So I'm going to go do this the day it opened. Okay, they opened a dispensary in Washington, Vancouver, somewhere almost in Salmon Creek. And so I drove over, and there's a line out the fucking door. Everybody's like, yay, weed. And so I waited in the line. There's 4 cops in the parking lot. They're all sitting in the parking lot staring, like with their cars pointed, talking to each other, staring at the weed shop, right? And so growing up in California, where weed was very illegal when I was a kid, right? If we had weed, we had to be very, very careful about not getting caught with weed, because you could get in a lot of trouble for weed back then. And so I go in, and there's like 8 people behind the counter, and the guys are like, hey, buddy, what's going on? What ails you, man? And I'm like, well, look, I got anxiety. I can't really smoke sativa. Do you got any good I usually like purple weed, heavy indica, this and that. And he's like, sure, got right the thing for you, bro. And so he takes me over. He's like, we got this shit right here, this shit. And of course, you can always go with the OG granddaddy purple, and that's a heavy, and you'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, dude, just give me the purple and some papers and this and that. And so I get this little brown paper bag, and I come walking out of the store, and it was like instant anxiety, dude, because the cops are right there. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I'm just so used to like, oh shit, there's cops. When I was a kid, and we're smoking a joint or something, we're like, I put it out, get it, fucking get it, run. And so it was really, really scary, and it was bizarre to me, because I'm like, dude, I have so many friends that have been in jail, prison for weed, prison. I mean, I have a friend who went to San Quentin prison for like 3 years over a weed deal. Okay. And here I am walking into a store in front of the police, buying a quarter ounce of weed. Right. And it washed over me, because I was like, dude, this is really fucked up. And, this is back, of course, I kind of already was against the drug war at the time, but this was the time when I was like, yeah, the drug war is really bad, man. Like really, really, really bad. And so that was kind of the biggest drug war eye-opening for me at the time, was this 2012 or something like that. It's not 10 years ago. And I was like, wow, dude, I have friends that are rotting in prison right now for weed. Yeah. And I'm walking into a store and buying weed in front of the police.
I don't remember who said it, but when I like really flipped on the drug war was when somebody said, is, taking a line of cocaine worse than being thrown in a cage and separated from your family? I was like, hell no. Like, you're punishing yourself enough if you're doing drugs. Like, especially like hard drugs.
And let me tell you, those 5 o'clock a.m. mornings where you're rolling and sweating and trying to go to sleep after a bunch of cocaine, dude, they suck.
Well, yeah, one of those.
And there's a lot of people that automatically jump to the conclusion that, oh, if you do something violent or aggressive while under the influence, libertarians don't think that people should be prosecuted for that. If you're being violent, no matter the circumstances, you should be prosecuted for that. If you're being the aggressor, it's just the instances when you're not being an aggressor on drugs and you're, just chilling in your house smoking a joint, or, you shouldn't be punished for that. Like, that's not the state's rule whatsoever.
Well, there's a huge tack on for doing anything wrong that we don't want you to do, because it is wrong if you happen to be using any drugs when you do that. So there's a lady in Iowa who's, she probably wasn't the greatest mother, but she wasn't a bad mother. She bought a gun for her kid. He was under 18, just a rifle, 22. And like kids do, he took it outside and shot it into the air, and the bullet came down and killed somebody. Well, that's obviously a tragedy, and somebody needs to be held accountable for it. And eventually, they tried her and convicted her. But here's the kick: she admitted that she had actually given marijuana to her son, not that day, but sometime in her life. They gave her 40 years in prison. Obviously, he lost his mother because she allowed her child to smoke marijuana, and he did something that was a tragedy.
Wow.
40 years in prison.
Wow.
And the judge came right out and said that, it was the marijuana thing that took it from like whatever.
And that's in Iowa.
2 or 3.
That's in Iowa.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I was famously bad on the drug war. In fact, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Texas." Somebody even said in the chat, "Oh, Texas enters the chat." Texas is bad. Iowa's one of the worst when it comes to the drug war. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I haven't looked that much into it personally because I've never been at risk of facing the consequences.
Yeah, it doesn't at all affect you, right?
Facing the drug war because I've never done an illegal substance, even alcohol under the age of 21.
Well,
As I said, I'm the squarest of all squares of libertarians.
Wait a second. Did you never had sex without a condom?
I've never had sex outside of marriage, so I've only been having sex
he didn't
for
have
like
sex until
a
he got
month and a
married.
half.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How is it?
He's a good
It's pretty
religious
cool.
boy.
Is it?
I
Is it
kind of
worth
like sex.
Worth it?
Yeah, 100% worth it.
I'll have to investigate it.
Wow, dude. Wow. Listen, it's no secret that I've been a bit of a womanizer in my life, but I feel like I was born again, and I was born again religiously when I met Julia. What was that? Did you hear that?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was
something like Fowler.
Everybody's
But
okay.
I want to interrupt just a second. You said womanizer as if it was a bad word.
Yeah. A lot of people
Why is
would
that
say
a
it
bad word? Why should we be ashamed because we're womanizer?
Well, I'm not ashamed. I'm not really, to be honest with you. I had a lot of fun in my life, and now I'm happily getting married in May, hopefully, and we got babies together, and I'm happy.
Congratulations!
So thank you. Yeah, it's just
I knew her before you did.
You lived in Iowa, Rick, and she's a big part of the Informed Choice Iowa movement.
She's such a delightful woman. I've always liked her a lot.
I wish she'd come on the show.
You feel so good when you're around her.
Yeah, she's just
and
a
it's because
person.
she makes you feel good.
Yeah, she's a wonderful person.
She's an extremely warm person that I've always loved hanging out with.
I wish we could get her on the show sometime so people could just see like her light. She's amazing. She's really great. I'm gonna get all lit up and talking about her.
Yeah, we'll have to do like a members only stream with the wives sometime.
Your kids are also wonderful.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, they really are. When I saw him again tonight, I'm just like, man, he's a lucky man.
They're good kids, dude.
These are lucky kids, but he's a lucky man.
They're good kids. I really, really love them to death. Yeah, you guys are gonna get me all misty-eyed, and you got me being all.
You have some good kids.
I'm being a baby now. I do love my kids. They're great. I got my son his first haircut today. My 2-year-old, almost 2-year-old, and he looks like a grown-up boy. Well, I have to preface that because I have the baby who is a baby that was born in August, and people are like, "Oh, is this your youngest child?" I'm like, "No, we have one that's even younger." And we're just gonna keep having them. But guys, we're getting to the end of this thing here. But before we get going, I'd love Rick. What is your elevator pitch for your candidacy? What do you want to see happen in Iowa? What are you going to bring to the great Iowans here in the Midwest?
Well, I'm going to bring really the pure libertarian message, which is don't use force to get your own way. Force doesn't work. I've tried it a couple times. I got really bad results. And it's amazing. But when I said, please, will you do something to people for exactly the same thing that I wanted to use force for, they always responded positively. And that's the way everybody is. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be forced to do something that they don't want to do. But when you ask people politely, it turns out that the human heart is just as big as it's ever been. The human heart will take care of all the problems in the world if we just allow it to blossom. And the way to allow it to blossom is to quit repressing it. So let's do away with all these the force that we're applying to people. We force people to do things, and we force people to not do things, and it makes them unhappy. Everybody can be liberated if we'll just quit trying to force them to do things and force them not to do things. So no mandates you have to do this, no mandates you can't do that. Let's just ask people to do things that'll be good for everybody, and the response we'll get will be absolutely phenomenal, and we won't need government anymore. Sure, we'll have a couple couple people in the State House sweeping it and making it look pretty. But we don't need 161 pages of new laws every year just to keep us going in the right direction. We do just fine on our own. Let's just accept that fact and let's experiment. And if you're afraid of that, I get it, but why don't you give it a chance just in some areas? We just won't use force anymore to inflict our majority rule on the minority. We'll ask them politely. Like, I don't know why they didn't just say, it looks like wearing a mask might be a really good idea. Would everybody please wear a mask? If it doesn't work for you, that's fine. But if we all wore masks, maybe it would help. And this would be a good time to try that experiment. So why don't we try that for a while?
I still wouldn't have wore the fucking mask.
But that's okay, though. No, I get it. That's okay, though, right?
Yeah.
Because we asked you and you said no.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem when people today, they ask somebody and that person says no. So they pass a law that says that person has to do that. That's force.
Right.
And we don't need to do that.
Well, and we know
it doesn't work.
We know that famously the 161 pages of laws that are passed every year are only passed as revenue generators. The majority of them, like 95% of them, are only passed to revenue to generate more revenue for the state.
I thought it was just to piss me off.
Well, that too. It definitely
swear,
pisses
at least
us
50
off.
of those pages
That's just a
are
fortunate
aimed at me.
byproduct for them.
Well, Rick, where can people find you, donate to you, support you, and get you this win here in Iowa?
Oh, that's easy. All you got to do is know my name. So you can go to rickstewart.com or you can just Google Rick Stewart. It helps if you throw in some like Iowa or something like that. I'm one of the easiest people in the world to know. Here, I'll put my phone number out there right now because people do call me up. It's 319-333-4449. It's very easy to memorize.
That is easy.
My Twitter handle is Rick Stewart. My Facebook is Iowa Rick, and I'm one of the easiest people you'll ever find. My email is rick@Rick Stewart. So just learn my name and you can find me.
We'll drop all your links to help you get the numbers we need
Well, thanks.
in the bio of the audio, and of course on these here YouTubes. We'll take care of that as well. And for you guys that don't know, I am a member of the Iowa Libertarian Party. And,
Well, yeah, Josh.
And I am
You're our most famous member.
I am on the judicial committee of the Iowa State Libertarian Party. So I actually, I could adjudicate things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, because there was a time when I was on my local leadership, the state leadership, and an at-large for the national committee all at the same time, and it was fucking bonkers. I'm actually finding it hard just to be the vice chair right now of the national party. So at the Iowa State convention, this last one, they're like, hey, is there anything that you want to do? And I was like, nah, I don't want to be on the fucking board, dude. Like, I don't want to do it or any of that kind of shit. I was like, at first, I didn't realize that my caucus was doing so well here. So I was like, I'll run for chair here. Fuck it. Let's go, And they're like, actually, we have a chair candidate. Oh, cool, dude. Then I'll back off, But then I saw the JC come up. I was like, I could totally do JC because JC does absolutely nothing until an issue arises with the board, and then they adjudicate that and put out there. And I was like, yeah, if one thing pops up in my term, then I can take care of that, and that's all. I'm all good to go. But it's been hard, man. It's been a lot, and I think I've been clear on the show. I've been a little jaded on the party recently, and obviously for the last 5 years. But I'm still doing my work and trying to do the show and have the kids and all that stuff too. So, but man, Rick, I'm a big fan of yours. I really appreciate you coming on, man. We'll definitely we're gonna do a members only stream here shortly too, and I'll give everybody the information for that if they want to come and check that out. But Rick, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you.
I totally appreciate the invitation, and I look forward to coming back and having more interesting conversation.
Next time it'll be Governor Stewart on the.
There you go. By the way, I wanted to invite you to the inauguration party.
Okay, I'll be there.
Yeah. All right.
You win, and I'll be there. Rick.
Yeah, all you have to do is say your name.
Say
my name.
You win, and I will come and be your keynote speaker before you at the inauguration.
I've already promised that to somebody.
Okay, fucking whatever. That's fine. Ryan, you got anything before we head out, buddy?
I don't. I'm excited to turn on my Vikings. Hopefully they're doing well. I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so it'll be a surprise.
We're gonna talk about drugs and all kinds of other cool stuff in the members only stream here in a minute. By the way, if you guys want to watch the members only streams, all you have to do is hit the join link under all of my YouTube videos. I think they have I think there's an option on there. It's like $3.99 a month or $4.99 a month. Literally, it's almost nothing. It's the price of a Starbucks once a month, and you can watch all the added content. There's like 160 something videos on there. That's all members only content that you guys haven't got to see. Or you can join the Patreon, which we're streaming. The members only stream now streams to Patreon instead of just streaming to YouTube and then going out to Patreon and subscribe to Star the next day. So you can join the Patreon or the Subscribe Star, either one of those two, by going to thatwebsite.com/breakthecyclejs. You can sign up there. You get all kinds of different cool monthly thing, or you get like some other swag too if you sign up on the Patreon or Subscribe Star. I've been really bad about getting shirts and mugs and stuff out, but the people are still getting those. And then you can also join the YouTube, which gives you like the cool logos that you see by some of my members' chats here. And of course, you get to watch the members only streams. But go check out our sponsors, toplobster.com, the man, the myth, the legend, my good friend and partner on Break the Cycle, where you can get this great Disobey Your Local Tyrant shirt that you see me wearing tonight by using BTC at checkout for a 10% discount. Or join on one of those platforms that I told you and hit me up, and I will make sure that you get into the Discord server with all kinds of great people, including Stefan Kinsella is in there. And you can get all of Top Lobster's new gear up to 2 weeks before it goes to the general public at like a 30% discount. And of course, executive producers of the show, anthemplanning.com, for all your emergency and crisis planning needs. Check them out today. See what they can do for your business, home, or personal life. They're doing a wonderful job that the government has historically sucked at. Much cheaper and much more efficiently. Seriously, go check them out. If you own a business or you're thinking about starting a business, they're a real good place to go. And of course, new executive producer of the show. Sorry, I'm still learning how to use my things here. Colwell Creative Content, for all your great marketing and media needs. Go check them out. Seriously, they're amazing people, and they already have clients, dude. So I promise you, they have a proven track record of helping you get in front of your target audience. Go check out Colwell Creative Content today and let them help you. I'm fucking this up. I've been reading it before, and now I'm working on the video, and I got the video ideas going in my head while I'm trying to do the sponsorship. Great people, dude. Seriously. And the link for their website is in our bio or in the show notes. It's always in there now for everything. Yeah, man, I love you guys to death. You had something to say before we head out of here, Rick?
Yeah, I want to say I did check them out, and they do look great.
They're amazing.
No, I did. You said go check them out. I did. I looked that over, and I'm like, wow, these guys look pretty good. So
they are good.
That's a good recommendation.
Yeah, they're libertarians from New York. All of my businesses that support me are libertarians. I don't think Top would call himself a libertarian anymore. He's gone a little further right than that these days, but that's all right. We still love him to death.
I thought he would be an anarchist.
He's pretty anarchist, but he's like brutalist anarchist. He's like, fuck off, everybody, get away from me. You know what I mean? And that's good. I agree. I agree with that. Guys, we have a show coming up on Thursday, now that we're doing shows again consistently on Mondays and Thursdays. I did it. I'm really smart. Let's do it on the nights that there's football. Coming up on Thursday, we will have Brandon Caserta is coming into the studio. Well, he won't be in the studio. He'll be virtual. Okay. Brandon Caserta was arrested as part of a plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer in Michigan.
He's like the one non-Fed involved in that.
Well, he's one of 4 non-Feds. And he's trying to get his story out now. He was just acquitted of all charges. He basically beat the FBI's plot to frame them.
That's fantastic.
And so he will be on the show on Thursday. That's going to be a dope ass show. You guys are going to want to check it out. Guys, I love you to death. If you want to come check out the members only stream, please do. I will see you. If not, I will see you on Thursday. If so, I will see you here in a few minutes. But until then, don't forget to break the cycle.
Due to legal reasons, I just have to explain. The lyrics of my last song may seem to contain a violent call to action in the verse and refrain, but I just meant it in Minecraft. The helicopter part was in reference to GTA 5 and the things you do. So any violence you commit, I am not an excuse, because I just meant it in Minecraft. But Chipper is my friend and he's constantly cold. Accusations of incitement getting totally old. Make your own choices, yeah, you have control, because I just meant it in Minecraft. Obviously I would never advocate force, unless there's due process and a trial, of course. And if you're convicted, we will make make you a corpse in Minecraft, just in Minecraft. You're nothing on me and you know it. No product in cause it closed to COVID. Holy shit, I think I'm